And Kyle, ask me why any of this matters. It fucking doesn't!
It doesn't!
Fuck! None of this fucking means anything!
Thank God this table's made out of oak.
Hello, welcome back to Good Bad Show. We watch terrible movies and television. I'm your host, Mr. Brian Shilligo. It's the 142nd episode. I'm joined, as always, my other host, Mr. Kyle Hinton. Kyle, we're about 6 days out from Christmas, give or take. And you have found
our Christmas Spectacular.
Christmas Spectacular.
This is a film that not only is about the spirit of Christmas, but also the spirit of really, really bad movie making.
An orange belt represents the growing power of the sun as it warms the earth to prepare for new growth.
Everything, Kyle, this is one of the worst movies we've seen in a while. Yes. This was very strong, like Fight of Fury vibes, or Angry Kelly kind of reminded me of that at times, or so many movies that we've done. This was
very
a nightmare.
Much a shot in the dark I took on IMDb where I just put in Christmas movies.
Really?
And this one popped up.
Really?
Yes.
Holy shit, Kyle. This movie's fucking insane.
This is a diamond in the rough for sure.
Fucking insane. This movie... I say this pretty often, but my notes of trying to explain this movie, by the time we get to the end of the movie, it's all going to sound like complete fucking nonsense. And that's not purely because the circulation in my brain is being cut off by this incredibly tight Christmas sweater. That's only like 30% of the reason. The other 70% is because this movie is completely fucking incomprehensible nonsense.
But Brian, what is this movie? It's a karate Christmas miracle!
Here! 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 Here!
Katie texted me like 45. She usually, I'll watch them on my computer with headphones on very often, and she'll be sitting on the couch kind of behind me, like reading or whatever, and we'll like glance up occasionally. And she texted me like an hour into this movie. She saw the title card at the beginning and said, "There's a whole lot less fucking karate in this movie than I was expecting based on that title."
I'm sorry. Was there enough sword fighting in the fucking dog movie?
Fair enough. Fair enough. There's very little karate in this movie, although it is the pivotal plot point.
It's not even karate. It's fucking Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Is it Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Why is it called the karate fucking whatever?
Because they punch a board at the end.
They do punch a board. He does punch a board. Oh, God, we'll get to it. The end of this fucking movie is so wild. It's so wild.
Tell your mother.
Then you must remain silent until Christmas Day. That's the day you earn your black belt.
So this is a 2019 film directed by Julie Kimmel, written by Ken Delvecchia and Julie Kimmel and some other person. This movie's fucking crazy. Holy shit, Kyle.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Kyle, the opening credits are in fucking papyrus.
Yes, the thinking man's Comic Sans.
Immediately, I was like, oh no, Kyle, it's a prank on me. This movie is a prank on me. And I'm not sure, I'm still not convinced that's not the case. By the end of this movie, holy fucking shit.
Do you think Ken, who's the writer, do you think Ken was like, all right, this movie probably doesn't work well on its own merits. However, if I put in this font, we might get notoriety from a couple of online reviewers.
That's true. If I put papyrus. No, it's just because Ken Delvecchio is a fucking crazy person, insane idiot who was like, papyrus is a great font. That's what it was. Holy Jesus Christ. Also, we go immediately from papyrus opening fonts to a really bad drone shot. And again, I was like, this movie's a prank on me. This movie is specifically designed to trigger everything that I hate in movies. It was like papyrus font, fucking bad, like shitty consumer level drone shots. And I was like, oh no, oh boy. Yeah, real bad. They clearly got this dude got a drone for Christmas 6 years ago and is still learning how to use it and use it in this movie.
Unlike Brian, he's probably not a licensed drone operator.
Guarantee you he's not a licensed drone operator. But anyways, open on a terrible drone shot, and we fly into a living room, kind of. Again, you couldn't even match cut. Like, the camera pushes into, like, their living room window, and I thought we were going to, like, match cut to the same perspective in the living room inside. No, it's just we just cut randomly inside. And we're introduced to Abby, who's one of our main characters. She is the mother. Oh boy, it's hard to breathe. I tried to take a deep breath and it just said, nope.
We're just waiting for one of these buttons to fly off.
100%. One of these buttons is firing off here at Mach 3 and killing Kyle by the end of this review. It's going to happen. I'm sorry. Prepare yourselves.
But Abby is the mother of Jesse, who is having a lot of difficulty dealing with the fact that his father's not around.
Not around anymore.
Now, as to what reason his father is not around anymore has to do with something that happened at a theater that tends to be rather nondescript.
Okay, this movie only partially explains what happened to his dad, but we do find out. So it opens with him reciting presidents randomly, like in order, backwards in order.
George W. Bush, Bill Clinton, George H.W. Bush, Ronald Reagan, Jimmy Carter.
Because that's part of his Christmas list, and he's reciting these to his I thought dad's picture.
Yes.
Because here's the thing. We find out that his dad has been gone ever since
last year, basically?
Last year, on Christmas, when a person shot a bunch of people in a movie theater. Mm-hmm. That's the plot we're going with.
And
here.
the more in
a mass shooting in a theater.
Who is responsible for this mass shooting in a theater?
A guy in a clown mask. Yep. Okay. So moving on.
So moving past that part.
Yeah.
Was that also supposed to be Eric Roberts?
I think it's supposed to be Eric Roberts. I don't know, because every scene Eric Roberts is in is this kid's nightmare.
Yes.
And so it's all incomprehensible, weird, like...
Eric Roberts isn't in this movie.
No. He's in it, but he's not in it.
He's in another movie.
He's in another movie that they put in this movie.
Yes.
He's in another movie that they took scenes from and put in this movie, and in that he becomes a mass shooter at a movie theater. I think?
I'm something strong that can't be laughed at and ignored. I am an instrument of power.
Yes, I think that's what's going on. But so he's talking, and he's wearing a karate outfit or whatever, and his mom's like, "Oh, your dad's gone," and he says, "No, Mom, he's not gone. He's just not here."
No, Mom, he's not gone. He's just not here. I know that if I do everything on my list, he'll come back.
I was under the same assumption that you were, that his father died in this shooting, and that he is like not accepting that, and it's like, no, he's coming back still. And the mom doesn't have the heart to like crush that.
For this kid to have, this kid has hope, and you don't want to squander that.
Yeah, exactly. So she doesn't want to squander it, so she's just like, so she doesn't tell him, no, your dad's dead. We will find out eventually that it is more complicated than that.
Yes,
but we'll get there.
So insane.
Also, he has a great line here where the mom's talking to him. She's like, our food's getting cold. And the boy goes,
it's always cold, Mom. Dad's a better cook.
Dad's a better cook than you.
Burn!
Fucking
burn!
Roasted.
That's savage.
Fucking roasted. Hold on, this is uneven.
Oh, no.
It's all right. It's just a little...
And that is not the first savage burn this kid gives his mother.
No, or the last. Well, it is the first. It's not the last.
It's going to be fun having my camera shot jerk all around. While
just don't put that part in the review. Cut it out, Kyle. You're an editor. That's what you do. You remove the parts that you don't want in it. Like when I adjust your camera.
Anyways, this kid roasts his mom.
Yeah, roast the shit out of him. Roast the shit out of his mom. And then we move on. And then he's doing karate lessons. And his mom is there on the phone. And this is where we find out what his mom does for a living, which I love. Her line is,
I'm not a psychologist, but I do know people's minds. I need to in order to get the results that I do. And
surprise reveal, she's a marketer. She's one of us. And
one of you.
One of me, yeah.
I deal with my marketing department, and they are some demanding people.
We're the worst people on the planet, Kyle. The worst. Every day of my existence is agony. Anyways, there's she's on the phone call. She's working on some new marketing pitch or whatever. And then his practice ends, or his training or whatever ends, and she asks him where his sensei is, and there's this weird ass conversation where he's like, "No, it's not a guy, it's a girl," or something.
Where is he?
First of all, it's a she. My sensei is a woman.
I hadn't noticed.
I know.
Whatever, doesn't matter. But I love, he tells her, "I told her I need to go it alone."
I told her I needed to go it alone.
Go it alone?
Yeah, I have to earn my black belt on my own, and I have to do it by Christmas Day.
What?
So this kid, we find out here that he wants to get his black belt by Christmas. That's his last thing on his 12 days of Christmas list, is to get his black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or karate or whatever. And that will allow his dad to come home.
Yes, somehow.
That's the plot of this movie, by the way.
What
Kind of the plot of this movie. It kind of goes sideways in the middle. But anyways, and then we cut right from that to, I was like, why am I watching Eric Roberts in an empty theater right now on a movie screen? Mm-hmm. What is happening? And there's a woman there.
He goes Guy Fawkes with them.
Yeah.
Like he's just saying like, yeah, everybody talks about the power of like government structure. Well, we're going to be the ones with the power.
Tonight, this town learns what it's like to be afraid.
Yeah, and he's like villain monologuing, and there's one woman in the theater who, this woman comes back, and we'll talk about her later. Her plot line is so irrelevant, but so detailed. I want to talk about it later. Her inclusion in this movie is mind-blowing to me. But after he does his little villain monologue, we get these headlines start flying on screen, Alex Maisonette style, that explain that there was a mass shooting at the theater. A bunch of people died. But the last headline we see, or at one point, and it might be after this. Oh, it's after this, I think. He has all these headlines, and then he wakes up. He was having a nightmare, so we realize all this stuff was in his nightmare in his head. I was like, wait, is he having prophetic nightmares about this shooting? What is going on? But he wakes up, and then I think his mom finds in the desk some newspaper clippings
of the shooting.
And the last one we see says, local lawyer kidnapped after shooting. And it's a picture of Ken Del Vecchia, the writer of this movie, who plays the kid's dad, Bob.
Yeah.
Why would you name yourself Bob in a movie? Good Lord. Like, it's the worst. It's fucking good Lord. But, yeah, I'm coming after all you Bobs out there. Your name's dumb. Anyway.
Just go with Robert.
Go with Robert. Much better. But so his dad got kidnapped is what we're to assume. But he's been missing. So truly, he did not die in the shooting. He disappeared after the shooting. And
Why would they think that? Why would they think that? Why wouldn't they think that he was killed along with the
Well, because they didn't find his body.
But why? Like,
how would they know he got kidnapped?
Yeah,
I agree. I don't know. Or how would they know? How would any? And if he wasn't,
why would it not be assumed he would be an accomplice in this?
Yeah, or something. I don't know. None of it is explained. None of it makes any sense. They just like, oh, he was kidnapped, I guess. And we will get the bare minimum of exposition on that later. And like him confronting the shooter in the alleyway with a knife, but he didn't actually confront him with the knife. He didn't even realize he had the knife. What was that whole scene about? We'll get there. So anyways, also we get more drone shots. They're gonna make me lose my mind. And then we cut to a classroom and we're introduced to the best character in this movie.
The lawyer.
The professor?
Yeah,
no, the law professor.
Who is also psychic.
Explained in this movie sounds like a fever dream. Like the law professor who's also psychic. Yes.
Oh, who is also like a Southern stand-up comedian.
Yes. who's like riffing in her college class. Yeah.
Celebrating with the boss, that little chubby guy, you know, little in the red suit with the beard, Santa.
That was my favorite thing. We're introduced to her class and we get these awful gimbal shots. Like it was their first day using like their fucking Ronin or whatever, because there were these like super shaky, awkward gimbal shots in this classroom that looked terrible. But we're introduced to the professor and she's like riffing in this college class. And I will say that this movie accurately captured like the horrifying experience of being in a college classroom while your overzealous and cringy college professor tries to make you laugh. Because that was this whole, and they're all just like, okay. And she's like really going for it. It's fucking wild.
Awesome job, Teach.
I have something for you little critters. Well, I can't call you critters, right? That ain't one of them forbidden words or something.
And then we find out it's a law class, like I said, and we watch like the entire class as she talks through a self-defense lesson, and then out of nowhere, Kyle, the kid
just shows up.
Guilty of reckless and
The
dangerous.
answer is none of the above.
Do I know you, young man?
just stumbles into this classroom and knows the answer to this law question.
There is no reason for this kid to be here.
None at all. It will never be explained other than he's like psychic also or something. And his psychic connection brought him to her psychic power. Maybe? Maybe? That's the only thing that makes any sense to me.
Don't give this movie more credit than it deserves.
I will not. I absolutely will not. And then he calls, I guess the professor calls the mom in and is like, hey, your son's in my classroom. I don't know what to do about this. And she's talking to Abby, who's the mom and the wife of Bob, the missing lawyer. And they have the wildest conversation, and the mom like figures out that she's psychic?
And is, I guess, trying to ask her to look for Bob?
I don't know who you are because I don't remember you, okay? But nobody around here knows anything about my little psychic past stuff.
I don't know. Kyle, I don't know. It's fucking insane. At this scene, I was like, is this a comedy? Like, is this actually like a joke? Like the whole thing a joke? Because it's clearly parts of it are supposed to be funny. Like, I'm not saying there aren't like very clear, like intentional, like comedic scenes. But I at this point was starting to wonder if the whole thing wasn't in fact like some weird satirical like practical joke, because it's so fucking crazy. It's so weird, but I don't think it is, because I did a little bit of reading on the guy who wrote this movie, and he's kind of just like a weird crazy person. So I think he just wrote a weird crazy movie, and it's for real. I love. And also, I actually think the mom, Abby, the actress playing her, does an okay job given what she's given.
Her and the psychic lady are like easily the best actors in this film.
The psychic lady has actually been in some stuff. Her name's Julie McCullough or something like that. She was in like a handful of episodes of Growing Pains way back in the day, and been in a couple other really small movies. She was also Playmate back in the day. She's been in stuff. Yeah, she's been in a few things. But she's playing this. I don't know if she's good, but she's doing a thing. Yeah, like it's a whole thing.
She has a whole character built.
I'm not sure if it's good, but it's at least a thing. That's for sure. And like I said, I thought the mom was like okay, considering she's getting zero benefit or zero help from the edit or the direction or the script or anything like that. Oh God. So then I don't even remember how that scene ends, but we wrap up, and then we find out that he tells, that's right, before that scene ends, she tells the mom or somebody, the mom tells the psychic, hey, so Bob, what is the kid's name?
Jesse.
Jesse? Is it?
I think Jesse.
That makes it confusing because the director from the last movie was Jesse. It's fucking with my head. I think it is Jesse, who, by the way, is the actual son of the director. Right? Yeah, 100%. This was all about, like, look at my kid, put him in, definitely like a showcase kind of movie for his kid. But who's not even in the movie that much, which is hilarious. But the mom says,
Jesse's trying to get his black belt in karate by Christmas Day. He thinks it will bring his father back.
It might.
And I love the psychic lady goes, it might. And she's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
How? Wait, what? And the psychic lady's like, I don't know, man. It might. I'm psychic. It's this. None of this makes sense.
Anyways,
Fuck you.
She hands her, Abby hands her the knife, and it instantly gives her like a psychic moment.
Yeah. Is that this scene with the knife?
I think
that might be whatever.
It should be at the end of this scene.
It could be. Yeah, I don't remember. Because it could be.
But
Oh, it's actually the next scene with them, but it doesn't really matter. Yeah, because he gives her the knife. There's this great moment where she sets it on the counter. We get these like quick zoom ins on the knife, and there's like cymbal hits when it's so fucking stupid.
But
known as the wacky professor around here. Okay, sorry.
We get a premonition into the theater again with the that lady who was watching Eric Roberts beforehand.
Yes.
But now it's Martin Cove.
Okay, you've jumped ahead, but we're just going to go with
how
it.
far ahead did I jump?
I don't know. I'd have to go look through my notes. It's a handful of scenes later, but we can talk about that scene now. It's fine. No, it's totally fine. It's totally fine, Kyle. We can talk about that scene now because I want to talk about it because it's fucking insane. But this is just for your editing purposes. This is a little bit later in the movie. We cut to that theater, and this is after the knife scene, roughly. Actually, this is after. We'll get to it because this is quite a bit of stuff before we get to that scene.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. It's why I take notes. But I have to talk about after that scene where she talks to the psychic. We cut back to their house and they're having like dinner or something. And I have to talk about the weird serial killer fucking house that they live in just a little bit. In this scene in the living room, like the dining room, they're like at the dining room table, and behind them is like a nativity set. And then right next to it, in a different part of the shot, is a giant bookcase full of like collectible beer cans. Did you notice that? There's like a whole bookcase full of like different beer cans. And my guess is that this is the writer's actual house.
Probably.
And like, so like he has this weird chaotic mix of like, his wife decorated the dining room, and then he's like, but I'm keeping my beer cans out here, damn it. Mm-hmm. And so he's got his weird bookshelf full of collectible beer. It's so fucking crazy.
What's this, Jesse?
It's on the list. It's all about karate now and, getting my black belt.
Anyways, this is also where we set up a plot line that is the only hint at what this movie I think was supposed to be, and it will never come back, and they never do anything with it, and I don't know why, which is we get a hint of why Bob, the lawyer, was at the movie theater. It's because he was part of some anti-gun like group that was trying to lobby for gun laws or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I think ultimately this movie originally was going to be a big gun rights thing about, I think that's what it was supposed to be originally, is that the dad who was the lawyer was arguing against people having guns, and then he gets shot by a gunman, and the movie's whole thing was going to be like, if he'd had a gun, he could have saved everybody. I think, but they abandon all of that entirely, and it never comes back. But there is a scene, I'm not crazy, there's a scene where he's there as a lawyer.
Oh, yeah, no, I remember that.
No constitutional issue here. People are permitted to carry guns, but only in very specific circumstances.
Chaos movie about psychics. I don't know. I don't know, Kyle. I think that's what it was supposed to be, if I had to guess. But by the end of the movie, I couldn't tell which. It doesn't matter. It's fucking crazy. She gets a babysitter. And
yes,
and the babysitter, she just casually explains to the babysitter that her son is psychic. Yeah. She's always having weird dreams that he can see the future or whatever.
He's had these dreams, Sarah. And some of it is rather amazing, almost mystical.
And the babysitter's like, oh, okay, whatever. I'm a psychologist or something, so that's fine.
I moonlight as a babysitter, so I can have test subjects from running research.
Yeah, but also she then gets the mom at that moment or some point here gets a phone call from Bob. It just on her phone pops up. It says Bob, but on her phone it says Bob Genesis. And I didn't realize that was their last name. Yeah, I was like, what is that supposed to mean?
I had to look that up on IMDb. I was like, Genesis.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be some weird. I was like, what is this a reference to? No, it's just their last name. Their last name is just Genesis. Okay.
It's actually Peter Gabriel.
Yeah, Bob's the bass player from Genesis. You didn't know that? Yeah. But then we have the conversation with the knife and the zoom-ins on the knife. And then I got to talk about this scene. She goes to the place where she thinks the person who called her on the phone from Bob's phone was some guy at a diner or something like that. And she goes to this diner and she's talking to the guy behind the counter at this. This scene's fucking insane, Kyle!
I love it.
What is this?
This bar, like basically bartender who's just like messing with her the whole time.
What? She comes in and she goes,
Are you Jay?
Do I look like Jay?
I'm sorry, I don't know what Jay looks like.
and he goes, do I look like a Jay? And she's like,
like
what,
a letter?
What is happening? And he's like, do I look like a letter?
Do I look like AJ?
Sure, why not? Jay's a pretty common name.
Jay's a letter of the alphabet, and I don't think I look like a letter.
Do I look blue, like a blue jay? And she's like,
what is
going on? And she starts to leave, and he goes, nah, I'm just fucking with you. And I was like, what is...
Yo, hold up, babe. Hold up. I was just kidding around. I was just joking. Jay! Yo, Jay! There's this chick out here to see you, man.
What is this scene? It's so weird. No, I'm just fucking with you. Oh, God. And then he calls out Jay from the back, and Kyle, spoilers, Jay is Jesus. I'm like 99% sure.
He is this like majestic hair,
bearded guy whose name is Jay, just the letter, who gives her the phone, her husband's old phone, and she's like, "Where did you get this?" And he goes, "Somebody just left
somebody,
it."
it was under a table or something like that.
One of the regulars found it under the booth.
How did you know Bob?
Bob used to do free legal work for us. He was so generous with his time.
Okay. It was like moving on. It's like, well, that's boring. That's not really interesting. Doesn't go anywhere. Oh, God. Then we cut, and I got to talk about this. The little kid spends 15 minutes explaining what all the different belts in karate are. To like terrible CG effects. Like the belt will like superimposes over like a seagull flying through the sky, and then it's like this weird poetic thing about what the different karate belts mean.
The yellow belt symbolizes the first beams of sunlight which shine upon the seed, giving it new strength with the beginning of new life.
Orange belt represents the power of the sun as it warms the planet for new growth. I was like, what are we doing?
Like purple is like a seed ripening or
something. What are we doing? Why is this in the movie? And then I love, he gets to the end and he's like,
I'm only up to a purple belt. So can you cut a kid a break?
I don't know what the other ones are because I'm not a high enough rank. And then we snap spin zoom into his face and then out to the professor, and she starts explaining what the rest of the belts are. Why does she know? She's a law professor.
Because the script said so, Brian. Because the script said so.
The remaining 3 belts are red, brown, and black.
She knows, so she explains the rest of the belts. It's fucking wild. And I love... They're now in the karate studio, and it's the mom and the professor. And I love the mom in this scene turns and is like, because there's like all these women like fighting in the background, like doing the self-defense. And then Abby turns the mom and is like,
Why are we at Jesse's karate school?
Same knife.
who are all these women and what the fuck do they have to do with Bob? And I was like, thank you for asking the questions I have. Yes. Thank you. But this is where this scene is, this makes no sense. So they set up the knife that he had, and they think the idea originally is that he was using that knife to defend himself, and that's how he got kidnapped or killed or something, or whatever. But then she finds the knife, and she has a psychic vision, and she finds out that actually what was going on is that Bob was a black belt who taught self-defense to these other women.
He was Shuni B.
He was Shuni B. teaching, Shuni Bob was teaching... Shooty Bob was teaching self-defense classes to these women, and that's why he had the knife. He used the knife in his self-defense classes with these women.
He was using it here to teach women how to defend themselves.
And somehow that's like got things crossed up in her psychic vision. She thought the self-defense with the knife had to do with the shooting when actually it had to do with this class. And Kyle, ask me why any of this matters. It fucking doesn't!
It doesn't!
Fuck! None of this! None of this fucking means anything!
Thank God this table's made out of oak.
It's so stupid. And then we get to the scene we were talking about where we cut back to the movie theater.
Yes.
Martin Cove from Cobra Kai, the original.
No Mercy.
Yeah, all you know. He is on the screen in a different movie talking to a woman who's in the theater who I mentioned earlier, single woman in the theater. And he is explaining, or it might even be this movie. This might be this movie. I don't know, because otherwise I don't know the context that makes this make sense. Is he's telling this girl, who is his daughter,
that this theater chain, I'm leaving to you.
I'm leaving you my theater because now you've earned it. It's her birthday.
I'd like to give you this Palace Theater.
And he wants to wish her happy birthday, and then gifts the theater to her. Also, her name is Aurora. Eek. Aurora Palace? That's her fucking name.
Yeah.
And he gets to the end, and they say she was the only person that survived the shooting. What does that mean? What is her... What is this, Kyle? What does any of this have to do with anything? Why are we going down a side plot of this woman being gifted this theater and her surviving the shooting? What does any of this have to do with Bob and the rest of the?
I think I have it. I think
No,
I
you
have
don't.
It.
You don't.
I think I have it.
Bullshit.
This was the other movie they were working on, and they were trying to Frankenstein stitch it together with the Christmas Karate Story.
It must be. It must be that I think you might be right that there was 2 movies or something, and it was like, okay.
I think one of them was about this gun rights movie that
one of them was a gun rights movie about the fucking movie theater shooting.
Yes.
The other one was about a little kid who wants his dad to come home for Christmas, and he's probably on like a fucking business trip or something. That's probably what it fucking is, which would make sense when at the end he just shows up
out of the blue,
and it's like no explanation whatsoever. Okay, that at least kind of makes sense. I think you're right. I think you might be right.
Did I just say Brian's sanity?
Well, no, it just made it even more crazy because I think then that I bet this plays into some like I bet this movie about the movie theater shooting and the gun rights probably has some weird conspiracy shit where she was like in on it or something because she's the only one that survived and she owned the theater. It's probably some weird like Illuminati type shit or something. I bet that is what's going on. Holy shit.
You all must watch for yourselves.
But he stops us.
Some is as it seems, some is not. This is me, and this is real.
Oh my god, it's so fucking insane. Then he cuts to Billy or whatever, Jesse, and he wakes up and he realizes he has to earn his black belt just the same way that Aurora earned the movie theater.
I have to earn my black belt like Aurora earned the theater.
For her birthday?
She earned it by being born, I guess, man. I don't know. And then he also tells his mom that he has to remain completely silent until Christmas, and he doesn't talk again until the end of the movie.
Because they weren't going to do any more scenes with him.
I have to remain completely silent from now until Christmas Day and focus on only one thing, getting Dad back.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Or they did, but...
Yeah.
It's so creepy.
Yeah. Well, also, he says that. He goes, I got to remain silent until Christmas, and I got to get my black belt. And then he finishes talking, and then he grabs his head and starts rocking back and forth in bed. And I was like, what? And then the scene just ends. We don't address what just happened. I was like, he just went into like a fucking, like he is having like a breakdown, and the movie just doesn't address.
What the hell?
This movie's fucking bonkers, man. It's so bonkers. Oh my God. Also, I love that Abby asks herself, how could I have not known my husband had a black belt in karate? And it's like, how could you have not known that? It's fucking crazy.
I didn't realize how much I could just like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, you can sneak right in there. We have 23 minutes to get rest of my notes, and we have 2 pages left. So, also, I love for the people in the theater that are like the shooting victims. I love they could only get like 6 people.
Yes, yeah.
There's like 6 people in this theater.
And this is supposed to be like a like they do like some sort of, it's a movie theater / they do theatrical performance and stuff.
Yeah.
And they hold it as like a town hall type meeting
Yeah.
thing. And
There's 6 people.
Yep, 6 people.
It's because it's all the extras they can get. Oh my god. Oh god. Then we get a really wild heart-to-heart between drunk Abby and the babysitter in the bar. They end up at the bar, and there's like this crazy heart-to-heart.
The entire end of this movie is just Abby's character getting drunk nonstop.
Yes. Yes. Then we cut. Not Abby. The professor is drunk. Well, they both get drunk. Yeah, they both get drunk a lot. But in particular, the woman playing the professor seems mildly intoxicated for most of the end of this film. But then we find out it's a dream. But even still, this scene is fucking crazy, Kyle. The little kid calls Martin Kove.
Yes, what in the hell is this?
Clearly in a different movie or something, right? He's like in a swimming pool, by a swimming pool?
Yes.
Why? I don't know. He calls Martin Kove and he's talking to him and they're having this insane like philosophical conversation and Martin Kove says to him,
Do you remember how I taught you to fight? Our creed?
You never taught me how to fight, Mr. Palace. We never even met.
do you remember how I taught you to fight? And the kid's like, you didn't teach me to fight. And I'm like, this must be from a different movie. Is this from Cobra Kai? Like, is this scene from Cobra Kai? And they just like pulled it out and stuck it in. Like, what is happening? It's so insane. The kid says,
we never even met. But somehow, I understand your creed. Our creed. It's loyalty.
We've never even met, yet somehow I understand your creed. Our creed. Loyalty. He's like a 6-year-old, and he's talking like, I was like, what is happening? And again, it's a dream, but still, it's fucking wild. And he talks about how he used to be a student, but now his father is the student, and he must guide him home. And I'm like, what?
But now, my father is my student. I must guide him home.
Kyle, I can't with this movie. It's so fucking insane. Oh my god. We have a really short scene where the mom is at her office, and I was like, tell me you've never worked a real job without telling me you've never worked a real job. It's the writing of this scene. She's like on the phone, she's like, got that big meeting about applesauce today.
Applesauce.
The
It's
new
Jell-O.
And she hangs up the phone and her boss walks in and she's like,
so today, all applesauce, right?
I told you it's the new Jell-O.
Perfect. So we meet in 10 in the Eisenhower conference room.
He's like, Abby, you ready for the big meeting with the client? This is an important one. There's a bonus on the line. I was like, who wrote this? Did a 12-year-old write this? Like, this is like how 12-year-olds think like jobs work. You know what I mean? Like people in office settings talk.
I have to call the guy at the office and take the car to the place.
We got that big bonus on the line today, Abby. Get into that meeting and really, it's like, what the? It's so fucking weird. Oh, we get more side plot. The drunk college professor shows up and explains that we get this whole backstory about how she had a boyfriend and she didn't marry him because she had a vision
that he'd die?
That he would die if she married him.
I saw how we were going to get married and he was going to die. I've never really even talked to anybody about this before.
Which doesn't make sense for later. I'm just going to talk about it now. She says, I had a vision that if I married him, he would die. And so I left him. I didn't marry him.
I figured if I gave him up and didn't marry him, then he won't die and the spell will be broken.
So that he could live. Basically, it seems to be the gist of this conversation. Like, she sacrificed her happiness so that he wouldn't die, because if they got married, he would die. Then, later in the movie, and I say later, it's like 10 minutes from now, she runs into him at the bar. He's there, and she's like stunned that he's alive. She's like,
that was the whole reason.
That was the whole reason you left. was that he wouldn't die, but now she seems amazed that he is alive and not.
Okay.
Kyle, the writing in this movie, not the greatest. not the tightest writing we've ever done. Oh my God. Then there's also this sort of soft message about how Abby's working too much, and that's kind of part of the message.
Workaholic mom.
Yeah, she's working too much and doesn't spend enough time with Jesse or whatever.
You're the most work is first person I know.
You know, you're absolutely right.
There's only 20 minutes left in the movie at this point, and I was like, I don't know how they're wrapping any of this up.
No.
Spoilers, they're not.
No. We keep getting, at this point, our only connection to the theater and stuff is through the psychic premonitions that she's having. And it just starts getting acid trip levels of editing.
It's crazy. It makes no sense. They go to a park and he I don't even know. It's fucking insane. I love there's one little short scene where we cut to Jesse because he hasn't been in the movie for a while and he's just beating up his couch.
Yes.
Why not? Sure. Why not? Then we have this random scene. The professor is at her desk and Abby storms into her office. And I know this is just a topical joke they inserted because it was slightly relevant in 2019, but she is teaching a law class to the people of the North Sentinel Island. That island that is super remote island where they
killed Michael Rockefeller III. Isn't that what?
I don't know.
It's one of the Rockefeller children took a boat out there and be like, I'm going to bring civilization.
Yes.
And then
I didn't know it was a Rockefeller, but yes. Yeah, that island, because it's a super remote, not contacted, thing. And the joke is that she's teaching them law. And it just cuts to a shot of blurry video of maybe that. I don't even. It's so fucking weird. It's so weird. And then so she drags her out. She's like, I need your help. And she's like, oh, okay. And then we get another dream. And Aurora, the daughter of the movie theater owner, wakes up having had a dream. And Bob, she wakes up from having had a dream of her dad talking to her or of Eric Roberts in the theater or something. She wakes up in a hospital and Bob is there.
Yes.
Aurora, you woke up. Thank God.
And then it cuts to Jesse waking up having had a dream. Or no, the psychic. The psychic has the vision of this. Yeah. It cuts back to the psychic who had a vision of Aurora waking up in a hospital with Bob there. And the psychic says,
because I saw your husband there with her in the hospital.
That can't be. He disappeared with Whitmore, seconds after the shooting.
This means Bob's probably alive, because if he was in the hospital, that means he didn't die in the shooting. But spoilers, he couldn't have been in the hospital because the whole point is that he was kidnapped and held captive.
Why either A, he was living a second life.
He was 100% living a second life.
Oh, yeah.
This dude was out just fucking his second family, his second wife.
Or B, he was an accomplice in this.
Yeah, one of the two. It makes no sense because he was in the hospital and she's like, that means he was alive. Because if he was in the hospital, he couldn't have died in the shooting. But if that's the case, how was he? Because he was kidnapped and held captive. Where was he the last year? Yeah, he was living his second life. 100%. That's what was going on. And again, at this point, Kyle, there's 5 minutes left in the movie. I'm like, how is this ending? How is this possibly ending? And then they go to the bar again. This is where she runs into Mark. We already talked about that. And then she thinks she hears Bob in the bathroom, and they run to the bathroom, and it's just some random guy, and it's not Bob. I don't know what any of that has to do with anything. Also, they only mix the sound of Bob talking terribly into the left audio channel, so you can almost not hear it yourself. It's wild.
Not what I was expecting for me and Jesse.
We can start the hell.
That sounded like Bob's voice.
That's exactly.
But because Mark, who is the psychic professor's ex-boyfriend, because he's alive, she thinks that means that Bob is dead. Because in her visions, Mark was dead and Bob was alive. But if Mark's alive, that must mean
obviously
Bob's
that's
dead.
the opposite.
But if Mark's alive,
That means Bob, he's probably...
So she starts apologizing to Abby, and in this moment, Abby accepts that Bob is gone, and she starts crying in this completely unearned, like sentimental, heart-wrenching scene.
So ridiculous.
And again, the actress here is not bad, but holy shit, the script is
the material she's working with is
so
bad.
terrible. Yeah. And I love at the end of the scene, she says to the professor,
Would you be able to come by tomorrow afternoon when Jesse's scheduled to get his self-taught black belt?
Would you be able to come by tomorrow afternoon when Jesse is scheduled to get his self-taught black belt? That's a normal sentence that humans say. Getting his self-taught black belt on Christmas Day, by the way.
Yeah.
Because this is Christmas Eve at this point. But then they get to the home and they're all sitting around having dinner and they all start arguing about who's gonna fucking hold the board. It's fucking wild. Who's gonna hold the board? And then ultimately Abby's like, I'm gonna hold it. He's my son. And he goes.
And by the way, he goes for a 12-6 elbow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Is that what it's called?
12-6 elbows. Yeah, just drop down.
Take your word for it.
Okay. Anyways.
He goes and he breaks the board.
Oh man, yay.
As soon as he breaks the board, the moment he breaks the board, Bob.
Yes.
Walks through
no
the back,
questions asked.
Just walks in the back door. Just opens the sliding door in the back and just walks right in.
I did it. I escaped.
Well, okay. Guess I was on target.
I'm home.
And says, I escaped. And I was like, escaped? You just, no other explanation? You just escaped today, right now, and just walked into...
Yes.
What?
Yep.
And that's where I was like, but how is he in the hospital if he was being... None of that makes any sense. And I love, he just walks over and grabs the black belt like he knew what all of this was.
Yes.
He just grabs the black belt and is like, here you go, son.
You know they were at the end of the script and they shot this shit in order and they were just like, fuck
I don't
whatever.
fucking care. Whatever. He grabs the black belt, he puts him on him, and we push in on them all hugging. The end. Fuck it. We gotta wrap this thing. It makes the ending makes no sense.
The last 20 minutes of this movie are just fucking insane.
Yeah. The whole movie's insane, but yeah, in particular, the last like 20 minutes make no sense. And it's just, I was like, this is a prank. This whole movie was a prank. 100% this movie was
on
a prank.
you, specifically.
Yes. Two things. One, Kyle, there's a fucking sequel to this movie called... and we'll just have to wait till next year, called A Wrestling Christmas Miracle.
I saw this too. Good Lord.
Stars the same kid and some of the other same people. Also, on the cover for that movie, the kid looks constipated. I don't know what they were going for, but the picture of the kid looks constipated.
You think they got like more stock footage of Eric Roberts?
Probably, yeah. Two, and I think what it is they used footage of Eric Roberts from other movies this guy has produced. So this guy, the Del Vecchio guy, has produced a bunch of like fucking terrible movies, and some of the other ones have Eric Roberts, and I'm betting they took something from one of the other maybe higher budget movies and just slapped it in here. But I have to read these two reviews from IMDb because they are fucking incredible.
No.
We have 10 minutes, so I got to wrap this up, but it's perfect. I'm trying to decide which one I want to read first. Let's read this one first because it's shorter. This is by Zachpedia29 on April of 2020. Wrote this review. Title of this review: Great movie. And the review goes thusly: I saw this movie at opening day at the Hoboken International Film Festival, and it was great. It contained mystery, suspense, and so much more. It is on Amazon Prime, and it is free on an app called Tubi. I definitely recommend this movie. Half the review is saying where you can watch the movie.
Also, there is no city more New Jersey than fucking Hoboken.
Yeah. Which somebody is wearing a Hoboken Film Festival shirt in this movie, like the mom is at one point. It's like a red T-shirt, and I'm pretty sure that maybe some of the people in this are involved in.
But like when they're at the
film festival.
university, it's actually a university. They're at Caldwell University, which is somewhere in New Jersey. So we know where it's shot.
Yeah, and then this review by Christopher, spelled Christopher, from August of 2020. Title of this review: A beautiful and moving masterpiece for those who have had family members perish from mass shootings.
What?
I'm sorry. I'm going to read the review now. This movie is a stunning and moving drama comedy, and mysterious one of this film is. For everyone struggling, I read that correctly, by the way. For everyone struggling with, I'm going to try not to laugh during this because it's not funny. For everyone struggling with the death of a family member or friend in a mass shooting can take a small amount of faith of the 12 karate tasks that will bring their loved one back from the dead. What? Let me read that sentence again. For everyone struggling with the death of a family member or friend in a mass shooting can take a small amount of faith of the 12 karate tasks that will bring their loved one back from the dead. Period.
Are you sure they're not taking the piss out of it?
I don't know. I won't spoil the end, but let's just say that there is a karate Christmas miracle. Amazon Prime again delivers with a brilliant addition to the platform. I'm sure Netflix and other platforms will be turning out the cash for the chance to stream this one. After a lot of crying at the end, I had to leave this review so that I can look back at the first time this movie broke my heart. ... Parentheses, all caps, R.I.P. mass shooting victims. What the fuck? What the fuck is that?
Okay. I have a feeling this person wanted to say one thing, but their leverage, their tool,
oh my God,
their tool to say that thing is not even close.
It's possible that maybe it's translation, like maybe that was like not English as a first language. That's possible.
Maybe.
But even regardless, just the whole like content of it is fucking wild.
Once they went into the 12 steps of the karate black belt thing, I was like, are they taking the piss out of this? Like, what is going on?
I just love the R.I.P. mass shooting victims at the end of your movie review on Amazon or on IMDb. Oh, it's so sad. It's so bad. Oh God. This movie's good bad.
It's great bad. This is like the ideal person who had an idea.
Oh fuck!
And failed to deliver on that on
every level possible. It's so bad. It's so terrible. We didn't even talk about the myriad technical problems. So many shots are out of focus. It's terrible. It's so fucking terrible and amazing. Holy shit. Yeah. It is on YouTube.
Yes.
You can watch this all on YouTube completely legally. So go check that out. But holy shit. Look at that. 7 minutes just in time. As always, you can do us a giant favor by heading over to patreon.com/GBorBB. Support us there. You can also support us by heading over to tpublic.com and buying some merch. Yes. Kyle is wearing some of the merch. My buttons all made it through, Kyle. Look at this. What buying some of the merch. And that would be great. You can also support us by wait, no, those are the two ways. I forgot what I was talking about. I have a podcast called This Film's Lit where we talk about movies that are based on books. When this is out, our most recent episode will have been our Christmas episode, which is How the Grinch Stole Christmas. The animated.
I thought it would have been Winter's Tale.
No.
You got to do that sometime.
Yeah, we will have to do that eventually. How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the animated one, is our most recent Christmas episode. When you're listening to this, occasionally we stream on Twitch. That's up on the screen. Check out that. Yeah, I haven't done it in a long time either. Katie and I did one Halloween, but we'll do another one soon. And I think that's it. As always, keep watching movies.
And, for another year of bad movie watching, we're gonna keep it up.
Yeah, and that is the end of the year. Well, I mean, we're not. There may be a slight. We'll see with the holidays. We may have a break because these episodes came out close together. Our next episode might not be on a normal schedule, but we're not taking any major breaks or anything like that. So we're gonna keep going. Thank you for one more year of watching our silly show and laughing along with us at these silly movies. We appreciate you all for coming back and supporting us and all that good stuff. Until next year, keep watching movies.
Especially Karate Christmas Miracle.